Alrighty, I waited a bit and looks like now all the Dante's notes have been released. So let's read through them. Also, the music in the back is muted, so I could just play my own music instead, just because listening to the same thing over and over would get boring. Also, real quick, I know there was kind of a cut. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, why is that the case? Well, don't look at the side and come to the realization that I read all of them, then went to edit the video, then came to the realization that upon editing the video, I completely forgot about Record 1 existing and started off complete with Record 2. So, ignore that. Let's read Record 1. Limbus Company, the place I work for. It's a name that should be the most closely related to me, but it's also the hardest to describe for me. Because they won't tell me anything. I didn't join the company of my own accord. At first, I thought the company's initiative was to find and retrieve the golden bows. Then we kind of lost our minds, fought a fucking chicken man. Why did we fight a chicken man? Fought some weird bitch that turned into like a 3-foot long abnormality with like 12 legs or something. But that only seems to be our department's goal, and not the entire company's. From what I can tell, each department has its own aims, and there's no common goal shared by all of them. It looks like the company has substantial backing. The company's support was never lacking whenever we got its help. Though, Roydius seems to have a lot to say about the meals. Bro, honestly, I ain't gonna cap, they probably eat shitty ass food, like thinking about it, or they probably eat some of that like fucking, truck stop sushi, you feel me? That's probably the type of shit they eat. Alright, Sinners, record number 1. Seems to be a term that refers to the 12 people on the LCB's bus with me. Based on conversations I overheard, they appear to have joined the company similar to how I did. But they've been nicknamed like they're bound here somehow. yeah, maybe like the grappling chains of fucking like animal that you shot out of them in the beginning of the game. Yeah, maybe that has to relate towards it a little bit. Motherfucker did like a full-on S&M play and he was like, damn, bruh. Feels like these bitches are chained or some shit. Damn, shit wild. I asked Virgilius about the term, but he didn't give me a clear answer. Him and his, you'll see in due time. He shut down several questions with remarks like that. Looks like I have no other option here. I've got to write down whatever I learn. Adding a couple new discoveries about the Sinners. First, it looks like Sinner is specifically used to refer to those who formed a contract that I had no choice for opting out of with me. And it appears that they're the only people I can bring back to life with my clock. Damn. Yes, alright, I misread it for a bit and I laughed at that. Call me a fucking child, I don't give a damn. Record number 3. The Sinners might be the ones who could resonate with the golden bows we seek. When we approach one, it seems to reveal the fathoms of these sinners' ego, making us experience their past or peer into their psyche. Yo, damn, with that being said, shit, I can't wait till we see Hong lose and it's just full-on boy love. I mean, what? I didn't say anything. What? Small branch-shaped objects that emit a golden glow. Don't really feel like tree branches. My head gets these tingling sensations whenever I get close to one. Whatever these are, they're certainly not your ordinary gilded twigs that were made to go after. Motherfucker. You needed to take a record of that? Do you need to take a record of their color as well? I feel as though that shit's important knowledge to know for the fucking first grade test, bitch. What the fuck? Okay, record number 2. The Sinners seem to experience a kind of dizziness when they get near this thing. I hear it's called resonating, and it might be similar to how I get headaches. Once we return with a bow, Virgilius calls people from the other departments to take care of it. When I asked him about this, he just said, it's submitted to headquarters. I'm trying to perfect my Virgilius voice. I feel as though I'm lacking a bit in it because I don't have the complete disregard for human life. But eventually I'm gonna get to that point. Playing this game will do some shit to me. Alright, the LCB record number 1. Limbus Company Bus. Its name comes from the fact that we're on a bus. Dante, you dumb motherfucker. Feels like they didn't put a lot of thought into the name, but the other departments aren't far ahead in terms of sophistication, bro. Don't try to play that shit around, motherfucker. You took a note saying what its name was based off of. You're half to blame, motherfucker. The team includes people like me and the ones called Sinners, who are sitting back behind. Still not used to this word. The purpose is to retrieve things called golden bows from the underground facilities of lobotomy, or whatever the L Corp stood for. I'm gonna tell you one thing, bro, they did not hold no L's. Granted, they held a lot of employee deaths and letters for resignation that we generally ignored 100% of, but they did not hold L's. Don't know what gonobos are, but from the sound of it, some physical objects shaped like tree branches? We'll make a separate note when I learn more. Record number 2. Seems like retrieving gonobos isn't the only job. We're sent to deal with any task on the way to the company's objective that needs capabilities unique to me or the Sinners. I'm starting to wonder how this company came to be and why it had to be me and the Sinners to do all this. But Faust won't tell me. She says the security level is too low for me to access that information, but she seems to know something more. Why does a Sinner know more about the company when I'm the executive manager? You know what? Dante's a fucking idiot. But like, man's got a point with that one. Granted, I mean, again, it's a connection a toddler could figure out, but like, still, it's something I never thought of. Thinking on it, that just means I called myself stupider than a toddler. Limbus Company Clearance. Its name comes from the fact that they clear things up and out. It was formed to aid the bus team's work. Unlike the Sinners, I can't revive them with my powers, which explains the care they put into their gear and equipment. Which, thinking on it, doesn't that mean we got like the leftover shit? like doesn't that mean they put the budget to their shit, then they looked at us and were like, damn, yeah, maybe we could give them like the Goodwill clothes, like maybe that would be good enough for them. Like we kind of ran out of money, so I mean, shit, bargain bin sales, I hear those items are pretty good. Bro, that's deadass what he just said. The department seems to be split into 2 teams. The before team, LCCB, handles scouting and preparation work, while the after team, LCCA, handles gathering and cleaning up what we've done. I haven't met them yet, but the teams seem to be divided into several sections if Virgilius' phone calls or anything to go by. Met with Effie and Sod for preliminary observation of the before team. I asked them a few questions when I had the time. I'll try to write down what I learned. Also, wanted to ask what exactly they do, but the session got interrupted by Don Quixote suddenly causing a scene. Effie sided that preliminary observation pays the least out of all the before team subsections. Judging from what I heard about the department having far more staff than the others, they might be treated as expendables. Bro, they had better gear than us. Their shit was better than ours. What the fuck does that make us? Effie and Sod died during our operation. Okay, when I feel like an asshole. The nests seem to be a term that refers to urban centers in the city. The city is divided into multiple sections, and each of them comprises a nest and a backstreets portion. A nest is basically under the management and protection of a conglomerate called a wing, while the backstreets aren't too big of an influence, I think. Asked for Julius if I came from a nest or the backstreets, but he ignored me. K-Corp, located in District 11's nest. As evidenced by our nightmarish battle at the checkpoint, K-Corp Singularity seems to give the user the capability to continuously heal, or regenerate, rather, their body. Faust called it Palacius. I feel confident in that being the correct terminology, but it seems to be more commonly referred to as HP. That's much fucking better. Bullets or ampules by regular denizens of the city. Thanks to that, all the Sinners died and I almost fainted bearing 12 people's worth of pain at once. Wow. He loves his job, what a go-getter. But those HP ampules did also help restore my melted lower half to perfectly good health. Why did you have to put that image in my mind? This game's already fucked it up too much, you don't need to continue that trend. K-Corp seems to be utilizing this technology for a number of industries. According to Sam Joe, an employee we met at Yumbong's, the wing might also be developing food-related tech using the Singularity. Alright, L-Corp. Full name, Lobotomy Corporation. Its next was in District 12, a fallen wing. Its spot currently vacant. It was apparently the epicenter of a citywide event called the White Nights and Dark Days, which everyone seems to know. Except for me, or would that be the amnesia? You know what? Bro, you dumb as a motherfucker. So I think it's like 50-50. Bro, like he could have been living in L-Corp. There could have been like White Knights summoning like the holy light of Shangri-La to like smite some motherfuckers as have Hakma just jerking off to it in the corner. And bro, he just dead ass would have been like, it's a normal day outside. The facilities we searched through for the Golden Bows all once belonged to this now defunct L-Corp, Lobotomy Corporation, name of the L-Corp that existed in the past. It was a energy provider. It transported abnormalities, like those we've encountered, to facilities in their eggy forms, but Also edgy forms, bro. Some of them are cringe lords, gonna keep it 100 with you. And manage them in containment units. To produce energy in the form of Enkenfelin. Also doubles as a drug. Pretty useful knowledge, that's all I'm saying. I'm told it once supplied energy to many other companies and wings, pretty much all over the city. Basically, so it must have been a pretty weighty enterprise. Then, one day, a fierce ray of light shot out from the headquarters and the company went under just like that. I even heard that after the company was gone, some tower thing appeared in its place, and then disappeared sometimes afterwards. The wing spot is still vacant as I write this, which apparently has the whole district in chaos. It's been in chaos for a minute. The library didn't help, bro. The deadass murdered the people who were in the wing getting fucked over. That's all I'm saying. With its headquarters gone, the branch facilities around the city all shut down and were buried underground. Oh dear god, it's N-Corp. Alright, yeah, record number 1. Yeah, let's open your bitch ass up. Nagel und Hammer. I'm pretty sure that's French. Located in District 14's Nest. Nagel obviously means nail. Having spoke with Mersalt, apparently there are two... Oh wait, Mersalt? Told you, French. Apparently there are two factions under the names of Nail and Hammer. According to him, the armor-clad Inquisitors we faced weren't nearly as prevalent when he worked for the Wing, and they weren't the majority faction during his time there. Unlike the group led by the Demon, N-Corp as a whole doesn't appear too different from the other big corporations outside of some rigidness. Not sure what its main business is, but some sinners seem to know a couple things about the Wing, if only they'd speak to me at all about it. R-Corp, located in District 18's Nest. Actually, bro, I cannot wait till we go to fucking R-Corp. That's all I'm saying. That shit finna be hype as hell. With what I've heard about R-Corp from its related sinners, it seemed a little different from the other wings I know so far. While most wings provide many a convenience by utilizing their singularities to improve people's quality of life, R-Corp mainly deals in armed services like mercenaries. R-Corp's power as a wing comes from the quantity of its military services. We decided that as important as a troop's size is, much of its strength in battle will come from field experience and mental fortitude. In that sense, she says R-Corp's combatants are like killing machines with undaunted spirits on top of being great in health. Gregor said it's common for ordinary soldiers to lose their will to fight and then flee the battlefield or fall into panic. Yeah, y'all motherfuckers will know a lot about that. That's all I'm saying. And those who don't are the exceptions. I wonder if R-Corp runs war games and simulations or something. Yep, that's definitely not the case. What? You're thinking on it. It's not entirely far off. Just think about it like they play IRL Fortnite. That's basically it. The Wings, companies with the most advanced and influential technology in their districts, practically ruling over them. Supposedly they're corporate entities, but the more I hear about the Wings, the more they sound like governing bodies. Yeah, come to think of it, Limbus Company doesn't seem to fit the conventional idea of a company either. We're on a bus all the time for one. Bro, you have a bus that leads to like the motherfucking back streets, so shut the fuck up. That's all I'm saying. Each wing has trademark technologies called singularities and uses the funds earned from them and ridiculous taxes to manage the high-class urban area inside its district, known as a nest. People who work for a wing seem to be nicknamed Feathers. Ooh, W Corp Cannibal District, located in District 23's Nest. I haven't visited their place yet, but I learned a thing or two about it from conversations with the identities from this wing. Wait, hold on, bitch, what? Wait, so you could actually, like, speak to the identities? Okay, the lore implications of that are actually fucking huge. Because doesn't that mean you could just have, like, let's say we have, like, an Angela Foss identity in the future, right? Couldn't he speak to Angela? Or, well, Angela Foss and then learn about the entirety of what happened in Lobotomy Corporation, Library of One? That's actually fucking... that shit's actually huge as a motherfucker, goddamn. W Corp seems to be operating a transit service advertised as warp trains that take passengers from platform to platform in mere seconds. Tickets for warp trains are apparently pretty costly, and I'm told the first class ones are plain ridiculous. Shouldn't you just cut costs and drive at that point? Writing down additional details I've heard. While cars can take you anywhere, warp trains are preferred because travel by car can get incredibly complicated. You know, honestly, you probably would get fucking robbed, wouldn't you, huh? Like the second you go into the back streets, you're getting surrounded by like 20 motherfucking people. It makes sense considering the procedures we went through just to get into K-Corp's nest. Speaking more, it seems the bigger problem is the roads are made inefficiently. They're so twisted and convoluted that it takes an unreasonable amount of time to travel between backstreets areas by cars. Even if the linear distance is short, the road to the destination will be labyrinthine. That's a word? Motherfucker, you could have just said like convoluted or some shit. Fosh just taught that motherfucker a word and he's like, I got this. I got it. Like a 5th grader learning a big word, but oh, guess what? I just learned infinitesimal. You know what that means? Very small. Purposely or purportedly, what the fuck? Whatever. There are wide open roads called highways connecting the nests, but that comes with a set of conditions and costs as well. Alright, fixers, record number 1. Sort of freelancers who take care of or help with various jobs and requests in the city. They don't work for free, of course. The whole society seems to be based around money. But I don't think I could say for sure that there are absolutely no fixers willing to do charity work. I guess? The ones I've seen and heard about are all from all walks of life, too diverse for me to neatly summarize, if talking with mirrored identities counts too. Maybe it's a common career? Record number 2. Apparently you can't be a fixer just because you want to. Some fixer-related identities told me that there are tests you need to pass to earn a license. Looks like the fixers are graded with a number, 9 being the lowest, Ronald, and 1 being the highest. Also Ronald. There's also a special grade called being a color. Virgilius appears to be one. He has the moniker of the Red Gaze. He's supposedly pretty skilled and famous. Supposedly, motherfucker, what? Bro, you saw him wax them fucking furries in the beginning. What the fuck you mean supposedly? Bitch, do you not remember? That was some anime Kirito type of shit, motherfucker. What? Alright, record number 1, offices. Term that encompasses all the corporate bodies, or any place of business really, that are founded by fixers. There seems to be some sort of rule that requires fixers to be part of an authorized organization of any kind if they want to work. And setting up a one-person office is apparently an option. It looks like there are a pretty wide variety of offices. Thinking back on the time when we were in the back streets of District 4, D-Corp's territory, the office Yuri and Aya belonged to might have been the most common type. Anyways, I guess I could say fixers, offices, and associations are all entities that handle requests for a price. The associations seems to refer to the large organizations that manage fixers. Each association appears to have a specific task it specializes in to account for how free and open a fixer's line of work can usually be. There is a pretty wide variety. I've seen a few associations through the identities of sinners and their mirror wards. One major difference from freelance fixers is that they can't choose the jobs they want to take. The Sync Association? Probably not Sync. It probably doesn't generate water. They seem to specialize in single combat and dueling requests. Though it doesn't happen often, I hear there are still cases of people trying to settle disputes with a fair and honorable duel. Bro, that just seems dumb as fuck. What the fuck? Duel me on this fine morrow, backs towards each other, 30 paces and turn and fire? Like, what the fuck, bitch, this shit ain't John Wick, motherfucker. Like, get the fuck out of here. Especially considering, bro, if you do that, you'll probably just get shanked. When a person gets involved in a duel, or has to challenge someone to one, and figures their opponent will clearly tear them a new airway. Well, that's... I'm actually using that. I'm taking that shit, I don't give a fuck. They send this association a request. Sounds like they stand in for the client or something. All I know about this association comes from what I heard from these 7 association identities. Bitch, what? But what's the relation? So I couldn't learn much. Since the association doesn't get requests too often, it seems to be in charge of holding joint conferences and events with other associations as well. Holy shit, the Liu has a lot. Alright, record number 1. They seem to specialize in combat requests that involve groups of people. Although a few fixers in the city go their lives without once ever having embroiled themselves in battle. Quoted from Dante. It's canon. It's canon. They made Donkey canon. You know what, Dante? I give you a lot of shit. Rightfully so. But for this moment, for this singular moment, you are a beautiful star of the city, man. Beautiful. The Liu Association seems to be unique in that each individual member is equipped to deal with multiple foes at once. According to Don Quixote, or otherwise known as Donkey, discerning the two may yet be a task too daunting for novice aficionados. She also added, while the Sync Association covers one-on-one situations like duels, the Liu Association handles engagements between multiple combatants. Come to think of it, most of those identities did seem to value cooperation and coordination over individual action. They also looked rather carefree too. Yeah, Honglu. Motherfucker looks cute as hell, that's all I'm saying. Gregor's Liu Association identity also told me that it was common for him to take on groups of 5 or 6 at once. He didn't forget to proudly mention that he'd whoop those kids' heinies. Holy shit. Kids. Gregor. You just aged yourself like 30 years in my eye. You also heiny? Okay, 50 years in my eyes. Another thing of note is the incendiary devices built into all their weapons. When I asked why they use fire-starting weaponry, they gave me varying answers like harmony or flow or I'm gonna purge the fucking heretics. But those honestly felt like roundabout remarks. In my opinion, it's probably because the fire is effective as a means to strike foes around the target. Flames can spread, after all. Shi Association. They seem to specialize in assassination requests. Should note that it doesn't exactly mean they're the only fixers who ever take on assassination jobs. To start, requesting an associate fixer is going to cost a fortune. Plus, the demand for assassination is awfully high in the city. So even unknown offices are on obscure streets seem to get those requests pretty often. Alright, the syndicates. Seems to be what they call all kinds of gangs and organizations in the city. The term covers such a wide range of things, you could call pretty much any group of people together under the name of syndicate. The back streets. Areas of a district not included in the nest outside of the wing's domain. The residents are mostly people who can't afford to live in the nest. Each area is stacked with restaurants, local businesses, living quarters, schools, academies, and a variety of other facilities. As the name suggests though, the roads tend to be twisted and intertwined, and there's a constant air of dampness wherever you go. Honestly, bro, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Bro, fucking, props out to the fucking art team, because hearing constant air of dampness, bro, that is how the backstreets fucking look. Like, they fucking nailed that shit. Like, bro, that ass? Nah, they fucking nailed that. A fun thing I've noticed is that the boundaries between the backstreets and the nest were clearly drawn in every district I visited, though I've only been to like 3 of them. The Blade Lineage. A syndicate where I'm gonna keep it 100 with you? Forgot the motherfuckers existed. A syndicate of sword-wielding ruffians and libertines? Is that like a mammal? Roaming the back streets. Guessing from conversations with the sinners who wore such identities, they don't seem to act or move in groups much despite belonging to a syndicate. To be more precise, they do have temporary company from time to time, but there's no strict subgroups or pecking order. It's unfortunate that half of their answers were taking the piss, so I am unable to write proper answers here. The Kuro Kumo clan, a giant syndicate spread deep and wide across the back streets. Damn. We starting off that one strong, ain't we? They seem to be characterized by long, single-edged swords with sheaths and a dark, wavy close. They basically earned their keep by taking protection fees from backstreet businesses under the pretext of offering safety. From what I've heard of the identities, they seem to be in some kind of conflict with another syndicate called the Blade Lineage. I didn't get to hear the reason. They follow some sort of hierarchy, and henchmen are generally forbidden from disobeying their superiors. There do seem to be special exceptions if Honglu is to be believed. Alright, last grouping, the city's technology. From turning rudimentary cogs to overlaying an entire alternate identity via a mirror, the city has every level of technology. Abnormalities, okay, I'm actually kind of intrigued in this one. I still don't think I could exactly define what an abnormality is. So far, the ones I've encountered, for now anyway, usually had an appearance unlike any human or animal and possessed extraordinary powers. They're beings you'd only expect to see in abnormal fantasies, both in terms of what they look like and what they can do. When I tried asking Foss, she'd kept saying abnormalities are entities of their own category. You shouldn't attempt to define them based on any preconceived standards, and refused to give a more detailed answer. I mean, honestly, bro, she kinda hit that shit on the head. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Record number 3. The old L Corp used to classify abnormalities into 5 levels. You told us that L Corp granted them based on their energy protection or production efficiency. Bitch, really? I thought it was just based on how much ass you could kick, but yeah, shit, I suppose. The Limbus company seems to use these same levels to categorize them. Alright, ego. Record number 1. Shorthand for extermination of geometrical organ. What? I mean, it's a question I'd never thought to ask, and that's an answer I never think I'll ever need to know. It seems to be a byproduct of the Enkaphilan generation once done by the now collapsed L Corp. Reports say that the wing originally produced weapons and equipment out of the ego for its employees to use, which doesn't really seem to match what I've seen of it. From what I could tell, the ego our sinners use appears to work by the user making the emotions or self-identity of the abnormality their own. although I haven't experienced it myself. I've heard a few times that it feels similar to being influenced by someone else's thoughts and reflecting it to life, walking as if in their shoes. Which, I mean, damn, thinking on that, given motherfuckers the ego of nameless fetus, that probably wasn't that good for their mental state. However, if you don't stop at just being convinced and get deeply engrossed in that other sense of yourself, you'll be taken over by what's carrying it. The nameless fetus. That killed the sinners a good few times, and hurt me like hell. Enkephalin, also known as that good shit, seems to be what the glowing green fuel originally produced by Lobotomy Corporation is called. Mephistopheles, yeah, I know how to say that shit now. That's all I'm saying, has a device converting humans into enkephalin built into it, and the green liquid filling up the tubes seems to be just that. Enkephalin can also be stored in containers of our choice for easier transport, boxes and modules being the two vital examples. The old L-Corp's logo can still be seen on the bottom of some enkephalin boxes, which probably means the wing used them as well. You're reading the warning on the side, ingesting it apparently has hallucinogenic effects? Who would think to do that? Homie, bro, like about 30 to probably 50% of the Sephira were fucking enkephalin drug addicts. Evidently, a lot of motherfuckers would think to do that, that's all I'm saying. Alright, identities, something I'm actually really intrigued about. An invention that overlays a person's identity with a different possibility from numerous other worlds. I heard Yisong was one of its developers, but he always blabbers about things I can't wrap my head around whenever I ask, so I don't expect to get any useful down-to-earth info out of him. Good to know we're on the same page for that one, that's all I'm saying. The identities themselves are found via the engine of Mephistopheles. I'm not sure how it works, but it looks like you can't just find and grab the identities you want. Trial and error can sometimes stumble upon previously unseen versions of the sinners too. Although I can't write how exactly those identities are used in full, it feels like attempting to makes me unsure somehow. Synchronizing the extracted identity with my LCB PDA and the bus window allowed me to communicate with it or feel it, in a way. Calling forth the image of the identity in my mind, I get a sense of understanding as if I'm talking to the sinners like usual. And once the sinner and I make an unspoken agreement, the identity overrides the sinner accompanied by the sound of glass shattering. I can't think of a more suitable description. Also thinking on that, right? PDA, that means phone, generally speaking. So, is that meant to be like whenever you're on this segment of the game, that's like all via phone? If so, yeah, pretty interesting. Also, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, right? Calling forth the image of the identity in my mind. Get a sense of understanding. They made Catalyst canon. That's all I'm saying. They made that shit canon. Whenever you go to roll, motherfucker, you know what to do. You make a catalyst. You call forth that imagery in your mind of minds. Bro, I'm telling you, it may be black magic. You may not understand it, but the results are there, bro. That shit increases your RNG. While overlaid with an identity, these sinners appear to be pretty different from usual. On top of attires and weapons, their personalities can also change pretty wildly, and sometimes makes me question if they're really the sinners I know. Fortunately, these seem to go back to their original selves when they're done using an identity, but prolonged use might cause small side effects like headaches or residual traces of the identity's personality surfacing from time to time. Like, for example, I was just chilling one day, a nail came fucking flying at me like a javelin. Turns out, Sinclair been on that racist grind for a little too long, so maybe we ought to just calm him down a bit, you feel me? Identity uptying, a process of synchronizing an identity with this world using the thread we've gathered. It's how one brought from a different world is turned to the center in ours. I guess it could be likened to binding the two worlds together. From what I can tell, a freshly extracted identity can't immediately transfer all of their knowledge and combat prowess to the center. That's why a thread must be used to uptie the identity and make it more effective. I ask if the max uptie status, as shown on the PDA, is really the highest possible tier. You know what, me and you both, homie, that's all I'm saying. I wanted to know if that meant that the center virtually becomes the same as one from another world. I've been told it's theoretically the case. If an identity brought from a certain point in time of the world from where it was extracted gains more experience, training their combat skills further for example, a new possibility can occur that allows for additional stages of uptime. Oh, so basically just a description of the uptie 4 we're gonna get with chapter 4. I guess that's meant to mean identities from certain points in time could grow stronger in terms of experience and technique. Singularities, simply put, some kind of incredible technology owned by the wings. I was curious how they're different from the other technologies in the city. I guess it's the fact that singularities are monopolized by the wings that own them. Another thing of note is that they almost seem to be outside the realm of logic or classical physics. Yeah, bro, I'm still mentally fucked up by the concept eraser. Like, what the fuck? We just have that shit in handheld mode. Bro, you telling me the Nintendo Switch can't get 60 frames per second, but them motherfuckers can have a concept incinerator. Handheld. Foss says it's unnecessary to bother thinking about the intricacies in my current state, but I don't think you could brush off flesh regrowing from a severed arm or stickers that boost your luck as things that just work that way. Wait, is my head a singularity too? Alright. You need to calm that shit down. That you have way too much ego, don't let that shit get to your head. Thread. A strangely shaped object is inside, kinda like a bulb-like thing. I don't know how I should describe it, it sometimes wiggles and twitches. Staring into this glimmering thread makes me feel rather woozy. Wiggles and twitches, but you do not need to tell me that. Like, I thought it was just regular. That shit nasty. Foss wouldn't let me hold in my hands for long, so I put it back in place and let her explain what it is. In summary, it's all sorts of possibilities woven into spindles of thread, or something like that. Yeah, and we just annihilate like 100 of that shit to just uptie our identities. That's cool. That's cool. To be frank, I can't really call this a summary when I just wrote down what Foss said almost word for word. I couldn't understand what she meant exactly. It gives me a similar feeling to looking up at the star that appears when I wind the clock. A sort of like awe. Similar to uptying, this is the process of making the center's ego more powerful using thread. Though I do wonder why thread spinning and not uptying again. Like identities, the ego used by the centers are possibilities drawn over the course from certain abnormalities for appropriate individuals. However, using ego to its full potential requires weaving together a deep understanding and well-read interpretation of the abnormality, which is why it's called thread spinning, sort of like the idiom of spinning a yarn. A thread spinning an ego enriches the comprehension of the abnormality's mental imagery, enhancing its power and effectiveness, and also within the regards of the power to enforce the mind break tag. Ego seems to be the manifestation of some kind of mental force. I guess it makes sense that forming thorough knowledge of the abnormality and its ego is important. Alright, last one. That shit was considerably longer than I thought it would be. Like, goddamn. Upgrading identities. When a center tears this identity training ticket. Wait, what the fucking tear that shit? Like the fucking Kool-Aid man busting through a wall that's like, alright, I know what I know now. I understand this shit. Certain experiences seem to flow into them, or the identity they're wearing. These experiences can make them even stronger than how they were in their original worlds at the time of extraction. Well, that's what the relevant theories say, according to Foss. I get that they become better fighters with the added experience, but how does it make them physically stronger too? Bro, now I'm just imagining like in the locker rooms before like a fucking Olympic game, you just have motherfuckers just tearing that shit before they go out, like straight up. I got vague but somewhat sensible answers from Foss and Yi-san. When an identity is upgraded using tickets, the identity's frame itself is enhanced. To summarize their explanations, upgrades exclusively improve their physical traits. The improvements are made in ways that would have worked in the original worlds and the identities come from. Additionally, when an identity with prosthesis is upgraded, the materials and components of them seem to get sturdier and whatnot. Either way, upgrades are focused wholly on the physical improvements. Okay, that was a shit ton to read. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I thought this video would be like pretty short. I thought it'd be like 20-30 minutes. You're thinking on it, that's not really that short, but I did not think this shit would be this fucking long. So I don't want to drag it out any further, because Jesus Christ, this shit's gonna be an hour. But that's it for Dante's notes. If people are interested in this, I'll read any future ones they make, like after chapter 4 or whatever the fuck. Just because I know it could be pretty interesting to have like a audiobook version of it, but I would have to see. If people want to see it, I'm fine with making them. If not, then I just won't. But that's basically it. I'm gonna like fucking take a goddamn lozenge or some shit. Jesus Christ, so much fucking reading.